Ooh. Hello, that was a bit fierce. That was a little bit fierce. Sorry about that. Good evening. Welcome to... yeah, that is me bumping around in the background. Good. Hello. Good evening. Just sorry. Adjustments. It is me. Hi. Hello. How are you doing? It's good to be here. This is Molten Music Technology. My name's Robin, and this is Molten Chat that we do religiously, I suppose, after the Molten Music Monthly, which came out last week, end of the month. I like to do my roundup of news of what has happened in that month and what exciting things have tweaked my interest. So I did that, and so we then get together and seem to fail to talk about any of the things that were in the Molten Monthly. But the idea is to come together and talk about those things in technology and synths and stuff, and whatever it is that takes our fancy. It might be a little bit of modular manipulation, it might be poking fun at people, it might be just drinking some beer and talking about a load of old rubbish, which is the most likely, I seem to think. But you're very welcome if you're here for the first time. Well done. Nice. That's fantastic that you're here. I hope you find this interesting, possibly mildly entertaining. But please don't hold any of it against me. It's supposed to be relaxed and groovy is the idea we're going for, as opposed to anything too desperately serious. I can answer questions. Happy to talk about anything you like. Hey Jason, good to see you. The Village People, no, the Village Green sound system, good to see you. That sounds like a lot of people. Let's hope so. Hey, I'm just going to adjust down a little. There we go. I don't know why that feels better, but it just does. Laura Day, it's good to see you at the top of the chat. 5 minutes before we're even started. That's quite impressive. Ken, lovely to see you. Day, Mr. Stanton, good. Corey, Cisco, hey, good to all have you all here. Easel Cat, nice. Hi, hello, that's lovely. I'm a bit wiped out, I think, this evening, so I'm probably not going to run on for long, but then I say that a lot. And that's not something that really happens. There's someone over on Twitch. Good Lord. Hi, Jay. Good to see you. Well done. Do you want to talk about the disting? No, I had an idea for the disting. Oh, yeah, but then I found a solution for it. The tape machine. Yeah, see, I don't need a disting when I've got the tape machine. So that's good. Another reason not to use it, which is always preferred, I think. Pop those out of the way. Now, I very nearly thought I would do some soldering this evening. Good man. But then I think I got over it. Just because I think I'm a little bit too tired and it would drag, I think, and I wouldn't be chatting to you. And the point of this evening is to chat. But I will show you what I was going to do, which is this. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you recall, but many years ago, I got Sam on the channel, Sam Battle, and we set about building... Oh, it's raining. Building the Performance VCO, the Cosmo format. Look at the size of that thing. Look at the size of it. It's brilliantly enormous. I just totally love it. Anyway, I got him on the live stream and we were building it together. It's fantastic. And then we soon discovered that I'd got many of the wrong parts. I'd got little weeny pots, knobs, when actually we needed big boy pots. And so we kind of came ground to a bit of a halt and never got it finished. But we'd done an hour or so, which was pretty cool, I thought. And we got a lot of it done. And so I have what we did here. Most of the stuff on it. It's a lovely, wide, spacious PCB. You know, you could almost have drawn this up yourself, which is fantastic. So we did all of that. And so what I thought, because I'm in the process of reviewing the Performance VCO in Eurorack form, which I got sent, which are rather lovely, it's exactly the same, just in a, you know, in the regular Eurorack format, whereas this is in a massive Cosmo format. So I thought, as I'm going to be doing a review on this fella, I really should finish this one so that I can have it as a comparison. I thought that was a cool idea. So so that's what I thought I might do this evening, and then I kind of got over it, as I say. So I think I just want to drink some beer and chat about stuff, because there's a couple of tricky bits, not too many. I mean, we've got nearly there, and I think I'm probably going to finish this off tomorrow. I'm not making a video on it as such, because I have a whole other one of these to build, and I'll probably make a video of building that. I just kind of wanted this one finished so that I could make the comparison, and that would also, you know, inspire me to finish the other one for that matter. That would be good. So I'll probably do that tomorrow. But that I thought about it briefly there for a minute. I even watched Sam's video on how to build it just to remind myself on what on earth was going on, because there's definitely something missing. There's definitely a capacitor missing, and I can't quite remember whether he said it don't matter, because he said lots of things like that which were quite scary at the time. Me with very little soldering experience, and him just seemingly knowing everything in a very casual kind of, yeah, you know, whatever kind of way. He's a deeply impressive person. is Mr. Battle. So yeah, I might have a go at that tomorrow morning if I can get myself together and just finish it off. It's very much like Moog format. It's what Sam calls metric 5U. So it's kind of like 5U, but it's in centimeters or something. I can't quite remember. But it's very similar, yeah. It's similar sort of size. The idea simply being that he was taking Eurorack technology and putting it in a larger format, so it's much easier to gig with. Less easy to carry, but easier to actually grab and perform the knobs when you're bouncing up and down like a punky guy singing and performing with modular. And that really appeals to me. I like that. I like the fact you can have a big synth of a Moog style, if you like, rather than all the little stuff. I like the little stuff, but I understand and can appreciate the advantage of the big stuff. I like that. So that's what that's all about, and I'm going to see if I can finish it off tomorrow. Although I realise I have a couple of bits missing, but they're not vital bits. So I'll see what I can do with that. Keep those safe. So otherwise, this evening we're just going to chill. I did score some. Oh, see, it's falling out the bottom. Some tapes from a car boot sale yesterday. It might be quite fun to see if there's anything on them. We could do that in a minute. But for the meantime, I'm just going to open this beer. Now this is a nice one. Look at the state of this. This is Beavertown. I quite like Beavertown mainly because of the cartoons. Because of the artwork. This is a heavy gravity hazy IPA, 6-point flippin' 5. This is going to send me into a head spin. Now my lovely children bought me this for Father's Day, so I thought I'd better drink it at some point if it's not too chewy. But this is another reason why I don't think it's going to be a long one tonight, because I'm going to be slozzled very quickly, I think. Tape machine is wonderful, says Easelcat. Thank you. It is. It really is. It is wonderful. I'm sure that it will fade. I'm sure that I will break it and ignore it, and that will be a shame. But for the moment, it is awesome and continuing to be awesome until I screw it up, and then it will no longer be awesome. And I'll be looking for some other excuse to purchase something outrageous so that I don't actually have to make any music. Procrastination is the name of the game, I find. Wow, that's very flavoursome. It does smell dangerous. Let's not drink it too quick, hey. Hi from Denver, Colorado, home of many an IPA. Oh, good. Oh, I thought you were giving us your height. Oh dear, that's quite funny. Yeah, I know. The tape is a funny thing. I mean, I found the reaction to it really interesting. yeah, fascinating in terms of what people say and how people react to different things that you say. I mean, particularly when I've spoken to a few people over the years about it, and whenever I speak to someone who's actually worked in the audio industry, worked in studios, they tend to be a bit down on it because of the fuss and the mess and the inaccuracies and how it made your life difficult. And how much better it is to be using digital formats, which are so much easier to manage. And I can understand that, because you're looking at a professional situation where money and accuracy and all those sorts of things really count. I'm not in a professional situation. I sometimes like to think I am, but I'm really not in a professional situation. And so it's all far more on a whim. You know, I can be whimsical about these sorts of things. So owning a tape machine is really all about that. It's not about making the best choice for the most efficient production of music necessarily, although I think tangentially that the owning of the tape machine will actually result in the production of more music. So in some ways it is more efficient, even though of course it isn't. But so what I'm saying is that so initially when I asked people about it, most people were like, no, it's not really, the maintenance, mate. The maintenance is just, oh no, it's too much. You know, you get bogged down in it, etc., etc. So that I found was interesting. So I went totally against all that advice and got one anyway. And now the outpouring of people going, oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, you should do that. Absolutely. Oh, it's so fantastic. It's just brilliant. I love it. I love it. It definitely feeds into something. I mean, even if it is, the result, what pleases me the most, of course, is that in this little adventure I took myself on, it turned out all right. It might not have done. It might have turned out really badly, and it might have sounded rubbish and things not worked properly, but it didn't. It totally works. Totally sounds good, you know. Sounds as good as any other format I've tried. There is a bit of hiss, but I never listened to anything close enough to notice, you know. And also there's a lot to be said for the other stuff you can do with it. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm going to get straight into tape loops, you know. That's not my scene necessarily, only because I've never done it, not because I don't appreciate the idea of a good tape loop. But you know, I got a hard enough time learning how to work this, let alone cutting bits of tape together. But we shall see. We may experiment with it at some other point. There may be another adventure I want to go down. But for the moment, just recording to it is awesome enough. Now, I keep pointing at it as if you can see it, which of course you can't. But it's just there, you see? There it is. Maybe we'll get a bit more friendly with it in a minute. You got a load of old tape. Well, send it to me, mate. Send it in and I'll try it out. I've already got a few people going, oh yeah, I've got this old tape up in the loft. I'd love to know what's on it, that kind of thing, people. And yeah, sure, send it in. I'll give it a go. I was thinking that I actually want to make a mixtape, which is brilliant. I haven't done that for years, not since the advent of digital stuff. Well, no, that's not true. I used to make my wife a lot of CDs for the car, for her drive to work. Haven't done that in a while either, but I did used to do that at some point. But that was less of a traditional mixtape and more just trying to find interesting things I think she might like. So what am I saying? So yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll probably have to spend a day, because that's how long it will take, just sitting down with my vinyl, you know, with stuff I've got on record, and just making a mixtape, choosing those songs that I like and then recording them to the tape. And then having a reel, or however long it is, 2 sides of it perhaps, that I could just put on and enjoy the music that's on it. I think that would be really interesting. Old school, making a mixtape, you know, a la Pulp Fiction, I guess you could say. So that's something I think I might do. That'd be an interesting use of it, and at least I'll have a tape with something on it that's useful. Because the other question that comes up is, where do I get new tape from? Do I need to get new tape? Ultimately, am I trying to create a load of tape with music on it from this fella and other bits and pieces, or is it just a transfer medium that I'm recording to and then recording it to the computer, and then it doesn't matter if it's on there anymore? It's done the business of being the recorder, and creating the sound and the ease of recording. So do I actually need it to stay on the tape afterwards? I don't know. Maybe I'm going to be recording over recording over recording. I don't know. These are questions, you see. It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. Have I played it back at half speed yet? Don't think I can, mate. I don't think it's that clever. There's no real... I mean, there's speed control by a physical thing that I put on it. This thing here. It's always spinning. What does that have to do with anything? I can't remember. Oh, it's disengaged. Yeah, that's right. So... there's no, I mean, oh no, I see what you're saying. I could play it back because I could take that off and then play it back at 3 7/5, couldn't I? Yeah. That's true. Yeah. See, I don't know if I want to run tape all over the place. I don't know if I understand the point of that, other than this it being randomly stretched at various points. Is that interesting? I don't know. Get a second one. It has 3 heads, yes, yes. So, all right, well, let's play back at half speed. Now that I've worked that out in my head that will work. But how do I take this off while it's spinning? Can I do that? If I pause it? No. No. So I don't think I can change the thing on here. No, there's not a switch to change this. I mean, let me, because I'm fiddling about. Let me just quick adjustment. So, can I still see myself? I think so. Let's back a little bit further. Can you hear me all right? So I'm going to be speaking a bit away from the microphone if I'm not careful. Right. So there's this. See that all right? Yeah, I think so. There's the speed on this is done by this thing that spins around here, this thing here. So I either have it on or have it off. But in order for that to stop spinning, I've got to turn the machine off. But the machine doesn't turn off if the tape is engaged through. I mean, I can switch it off at the wall, I guess, but that doesn't sound like... If it's not switching off itself, that sounds like a bad thing to do. So, what I'll do, I'll just have to wind the tape and reload the tape. Let's get this out of the way before I do something bad. So, if I rewind... Now, of course, I can turn it off of the wall. Maybe that's the answer. So now it's shut off, you see. Isn't that interesting? So now this has stopped spinning. I can undo that. Take off this little thing, and this little thing somehow through the use of physics, time, space, and interface, changes the speed, and that goes on this little holder here. I mean, how? Why? I don't know. I don't know. It's bonkers. That's what it is. And then this goes up in here, I think, through... Oh, that's twisted. Up in here. Oh, through there. Under there. Turns itself back on. And then it goes around here. I think, I mean, I'm making most of this up, and then I assume it goes through the slot like that, and then you kind of twist it round until it catches on itself. You know, I could have done more research on it. That's the switch between the reels. This switch. That switch. No, that's a 50 Hertz, 60 Hertz switch. What are you talking about? Yours has a knob, does it? Well, that's good for you. It's like a gear ratio. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. There's a sleeve that fits over the cat stand. Thank you. Secured by a screw on the cap. Yeah, that's the thing I just took off. But of course, I mean, I know that the chat's a little bit behind the video, what I'm actually doing, and I can change it with my finger. So anyway, I've taken off the sleeve over the cap stand. All right, I've taken that off and put that over there, so it now should play at half speed. But of course, I didn't play it at full speed, so you won't appreciate the change. Oh, excuse me. So anyway, but let's play it. And this is still the recording that I did on my modular the other day, which I pumped out onto YouTube. I turned it down a little bit over there. Is that, you still hear that all right? Okay, that's cool. Let's just send it forward a bit, because I did run for a little while before I did anything. Crunchy, yeah. Oh, it's still the same. Add reverb from where? Alan, this is analog. Where do I add reverb from? Where? I need to take it into a cave. So some guy was saying how I need to run it at about plus 12 dB. My monitors only go up, I can't read that, to plus 6. What's that sound? Need it bouncing in the red. Yeah, it seems to be, more or less. Well, now it's a half-hour performance. I mean, that's the cool thing about it. I've made almost an entire album out of just one 15-minute performance. Yeah, I suppose it is. That's quite lovely, isn't it? That's after the event, so that's not going to do anything, is it? Yeah, alright, interesting. Interesting. So while I'm at it then, let's just see what's on some of these other tapes, just for a lark. Yeah, Ian, it is, that's right. Yeah, fascinating. Now, where did I put the case for this? Did I put it anywhere? I don't know. I mean, obviously this stuff is well, it's like a genius format where it just falls off itself. You know, it has no ability to tidy itself away. And I guess at least it's not film, hey, so it's not some kind of chemical. It's just magnetic. I have a case for this somewhere. See, I'm already doing it wrong. I could have a shelf full of the stuff. What's the point of that, I wonder? Don't know. Anyway, so this stuff I got from a car boot sale. I've made sound better than the original. That's interesting. It is. It's fascinating. I mean, you could say, oh, you can't do that with digital stuff. Well, of course you can. You add a plug-in to make it different, don't you? That's not trying to start a analog digital war. It's purely a thing. So this is a reel that was in this car boot. The guy says he has no idea what's on them, so he evidently picked them up from another car boot or something. But this one has got a label in it that says quiz. Mr. Dupont recitals Chroma, does that say? Don't know. So the likelihood is that this is going to be a name that tune. Hey Poppy, you're very welcome. You're very welcome to be here. It's nice of you to say. So, so this is side one. So let's jam this on here. And yeah, by all means point out if I'm doing it wrong. I'm just making this up as I go. And I'm going to leave it on the speed because I'm going to assume that most people would use it. Unless they're recording professionally, would probably just use it on the lower speed because you'd get more space. Wouldn't you? Don't know. Well, we're about to find out. Are we ready? Yeah, it does have 3 heads. People keep talking about 3 heads and echoes and stuff. I don't really know how that works, but yeah, I don't really know anything at the moment. Oh yeah, right. Here was a question. I meant to put this on Facebook earlier. It doesn't matter. Maybe I will put it on Facebook anyway, because nobody's actually watching this. It was a question I had about Walkmans, because you know, Stranger Things, Walkmans, it's all a thing. And one of my kids, my older kid, he's 15, is like looking on eBay at Walkmans, and they're like 180 quid because obviously something becomes desirable, it therefore becomes expensive. And I was thinking about Walkmans because I had a Walkman. I had a red one, of course, back in the 80s, and I was trying to you know, pull up my memory of it. And all I could think was that I did use it a little bit, but not as much as perhaps we thought we would. It wasn't ubiquitous, I don't think. And I was trying to think what the reasons were. Now, this is the UK, because of course in America, everyone was on roller skates, and in California, and they were like zooming their feet between Coke cans and stuff, wearing Walkmans. That's what happened all the time in America. That was America in the 80s, I think. And that was kind of epitomised, I think, by Wired for Sound, by Cliff Richard, Sir Cliff over here, God bless him. And while I didn't mind the track, I quite liked the track, and also, you know, being into contemporary Christian music as I was, didn't mind Cliff either. However, in the real world, in the UK, probably not the States, that kind of automatically made the Walkman a bit naff. And so you couldn't, unless you were roller skating in a skin-tight leotard, then it never really seemed an appropriate time to be wearing it. And I also had situations where I would attempt to wear it and then be told off for being unsociable. Or you just have it taken off you by bigger boys saying, "What are you listening to? You prat. What are you wired for sound? Take his lunch money." You know, that kind of thing. So I have this feeling that in the 80s we kind of wanted a Walkman, but then we just couldn't pull off wearing it. We felt an idiot wearing it. It just seems clipped on your belt. You know, you felt cool for about 5 seconds until, you know, somebody looked at you funny, and then you just felt embarrassed. So while it was a lovely idea, I mean, they weren't that cheap either. You're probably more likely to get your older brother's old ghetto blaster as something to play cassettes on, which is what we did. And funny enough, when we were out and about as teenagers, we would take a ghetto blaster with us, a boombox with us, and have music playing on it while we walked around our village, because I come from a village. So it was just a weird thing. So yeah, well, I don't think in the UK at least, my experience of the Walkman was that you didn't really. It was a bit too naff to wear. You couldn't really do it with confidence. Not with that confidence. Not unless you had the big curly hair and the leotard and the roller skates. Then you could do what you like. But otherwise, yeah, they are. People are jerks. They ruin everything. Everybody ruins everything all the time. Yeah, I mean, you could do the same as I was doing my wobble here. You could do that on a Walkman, no bother. Well, you're a little bit older than me then, Ian, because you were commuting into London in the 80s. I wasn't doing that until the 90s. I was commuting when, I mean, I've got a digital Walkman. It's not in here. That I bought in the 90s. A little Sony slab of a stuff that I stuck all my things on. Or before that, I had a Creative Labs one. I had a Zen, for heaven's sake. Yeah, I mean, that's what I listened to music on. That's when it sort of returned to me, I think. And that was when I was commuting in London, so that made a lot of sense. But anyway, yeah, we did have. Who didn't have a BMX? It was a Sony brand, yeah. An Awai. That's an old brand. So Jay on Twitch says, because you probably can't see this if you're on YouTube, you had an Awai, use it a lot, except that you needed to bring extra batteries. No one thought to bring their charger with them for rechargeables. Well, today with phones, only a cable is needed. You needed to charge them somewhere else. Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, I was fascinated by the Walkman. I don't know if it was by Sony, but there was one I saw that was a record. It was kind of a clamp, so it had I don't know. It would clamp onto a piece of vinyl. You would have the middle bit here, so the piece of vinyl would stick out, and you could hang it on yourself, and the piece of vinyl would go round, and it had this needle that came out inside this thing. Terribly, terribly unstable, but looked like a fantastic idea. Yeah. Anyway, so I was going to turn this on and see what it does. Let's have a go. Now, there's a possibility we might open a hole to the upside down. It's very, very low, whatever it is. Alright, maybe I was wrong about people not doing the... So I'm going to put the 7.5 back on again. And just assume that that's the way forward. Try this again. See if that gives us anything. Otherwise, maybe just the recording level is too low. Wait a minute, around there. Oh, a bit around there. Around there. Now this thing here, right, that I'm putting the tape, this end of the tape through this slot. I mean, I didn't actually read up about that's how you do it. It just seemed to make sense when I put my first bit in, if you see what I mean. And I'm just assuming that's what you do. I mean, is there a better mechanism than that of actually getting the tape to go over itself, or is that how you do it? I just kind of feel that it is. It seems to work, so I'm going with that. There we go. That's some clarinet in there somewhere.
Touch your hand and my arms grow strong, like a pair of birds that burst with song. My eyes look down at your lovely face, and I hold the world in my
I think I killed it. No, I think it's clips. I think, as I say, this is for a quiz. So if I'm not careful, I'm going to get myself a copyright strike. Alright, so there we go. That's what's on that then. That's helpful. I'm going to record right over that, I think. No bother. Brilliant. Don't know that that's the right box for it. No, because there's a 3M in here. Scotch, in fact. That don't matter. That don't matter. This one is new International Electronics magnetic recording tape, made in the USA to the highest standards. It is question mark experimental music, it could say in there. Don't know. This is a shorter tape. Been shortchanged with this one. EMI. EMI, side 2, side 1. Come on, come on, come on. So, I mean, I guess there's a whole YouTube channel in sitting around listening to old tapes, isn't there? That's a thing. Well, no, I mean, I don't know what the answers would be, Steve. That's the thing. I mean, Hazy Crazy Days, I'm sure we could Google that and find out that it was Joe Brown or somebody. Only on the left. Yeah, it seemed to be only on the left. It seemed to be in mono. It do have this switch here, which I haven't quite understood yet. That's either playing it in stereo, because, I mean, on these tracks, they're 4 tracks. Like, I mean, this is essentially a precursor to compact cassette. As far as I can work out, it's pretty much exactly the same tape. You've got 4 channels, so you've got stereo on both sides. But this also has the ability to play 1 and 4 or 3 and 2, I think. But I don't know why that's useful or helpful. But there we go. I haven't really looked into that anymore. I do have the manual, as I say, and I've only looked into it briefly about how to record and things. See, what is one of the things that fascinates me about VHS video machines is that there's something inside that machine that essentially does this process. That is just fascinating. Squeak. It's definitely a squeaker. It wasn't Joe Brown, I'm told. Oh, it's early craft work. I have to turn it up for my own benefit. Interesting. Can't believe this is your first tape machine. Well, my first open reel tape machine. I would dream of such things when I was a kid. Open reel tape, honestly. I mean, I was a digital boy through and through. You know, I mean, as I talked about having an X28 Fostex tape machine, you know, to record onto. But in terms of this sort of machine, no. I mean, my dad, or my granddad at least, had one. And I'm 51, thank you very much. My granddad had one. So I'll come across it in that respect, but never in this format. No, never. I mean, I'd seen them in studios. In fact, I'd used an 8-track with a band, but it was already set up. You know, all you had to do was press record. Was it a Fostex R8? I think it might have been. You know, we were using just a section of tape, and we had to keep taking it back to the tape counter position in order to do another take. But that was about it. But no, I've never been involved in this sort of tape. You know, I had a Commodore 64 I was doing MIDI sequencing on back in the mid-80s, and then from that I had a sampler also on my Commodore 64. So I was into sampling. Digital technology. I had a DX100, again digital, and all of that I recorded onto a dual tape machine. I should play some of that. That's what I should do. Yeah, I would overdub from one tape machine to another, and for a little while I had this really great double tape machine which worked brilliantly, and then it just seemed to screw itself up. So I borrowed this other one, and the problem with this other one was that although it had more features on it, like a microphone input and other bits and pieces, it had automatic recording levels. So that meant that when you overdub, you're recording one thing, like you record your first keyboard track directly onto the tape. You take the cassette out, put it in the other one in order to overdub, and it would try to auto record level the hiss. So the beginning of each track would just end up with this hiss upon hiss upon hiss, getting louder and louder as the automatic recording level tried to cope with it by boosting it because it was very quiet, like an idiot. So you'd get this crunch, and then the music would come in. So yeah, that's my experience of tape. But thankfully after that, as I say, I did get a 4-track tape and enjoyed that tremendously for many years. But I never did anything with the tape. I mean, occasionally you'd take tape out and then throw it about the place for fun. You know, break a cassette tape. But other than that, no. I mean, even when I did music technology at university in the early 90s, we'd gone to sound tools. It was all Avid sound tools. It wasn't, you never touched any tape. There was, I remember, some old tape machines in the studio, but we were recording to Mac Classics, for heaven's sake. So it's not been my experience at all. Not been my experience. So it's interesting, fascinating coming back to it. I mean, it's been my experience through observation, watching bands do stuff, seeing documentaries on studios, looking into studios, desiring stuff. I did a bit of work with Chuck Ainley. I built him a computer, for instance, and going around his place in North London, or at least it was Mark Knopfler's place. They had old tape machines, 24-track tape machines under plastic, all wrapped up in the garage. So I know of these things. I have seen them and desired them for a long time, but it's not been something that's ever been in my possession before. Then you can play back both recordings at the same time, the backwards one and the forwards one. Okay, why would you want to do that? Not side, but direction. Okay. Anyway, did we play this one? Yeah, we did. It's got kind of weird music on it. Let me go forward a bit more, see if there's anything else going on. Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's a Cosmo format magneto. So, AP, you're saying that you take a piece of tape and it will just go across the top, back around again for a tape loop. Yeah? And then what, you put it in record and it would constantly record over the top of itself while play. But would it play back while you're recording? How would you use it in that respect? If you had the piece of tape looping round, if you put it in record, you'd be recording over the top of it, right? So you wouldn't, and like I recorded this piece over the top of something that was already recorded to, it would erase it as it goes, yeah? So how would a tape loop work? You would have it in play. I could play a tape loop, but could I use that as you would imagine a tape loop would be, where you add things to it? How does that work? I know you could run it around the room, but that's just taking it from a simple perspective at the moment. There's nothing falling off the heads. But yeah, watch for brown stuff, of course. So I'll rewind this. I mean, I understand. I mean, everyone's trying to be helpful. I do understand that in all the advice and the demagnetizing this and watch out for this, that, and the other. But ultimately, I've got to put tape on it. I can't not put tape on it for fear of breaking the machine. I have to put tape on it. I'm told I can't put new tape on it without changing the BIOS, whatever the heck that means. I mean, I've got to reflash it. Is that what it means? I don't know. So ultimately, I have to be able to put tape on it, and to do that, I just have to do that. Yeah. So I can't be treading around on eggshells, thinking, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do?" I just have to try things out, and you know, if it ends up sounding rubbish. I mean, the one thing that no one said to me is when you demagnetize. You might need to demagnetize. When? Is there a light that comes on that says demagnetize now? Or, you know, does my wristwatch get stuck to it and it says you must demagnetize? I don't know. When it sounds bad. How will I know when it sounds bad? These are all questions that for a novice like myself, or a newbie, are impossible questions, impossible statements from people that make you think. Gypsy Baron, 1966. There you go. Someone look that up. Gypsy Baron, 1966. You know. So absolutely, I totally appreciate their help. It's a bit bamboozling, I say. Now this is a glorious sheath of a thing. Look at that. And it even could be the actual tape inside, which is quite extraordinary. Langspielband. Nice. Long playing tape. Nothing written on it. It's definitely been used though. So Steve says, new tape is fine in that recorder. No need for normal use to adjust bias. Okay. Use a demag gun. Okay. Oh. That doesn't sound great. This one looks a little bit sticky. Oh, it's all got a bit sticky. Oh, it's all come off. Hang on. Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, this has got a lead in on it, which is something. Ugh. Every month. All right. Cool. I will give that a go. I mean, I've seen that demagnetizers do exist. They're not too expensive. It's just this strange sort of thing that doesn't look very nice. Oh! So, I'm still in rewind. That was weird. There you go. The problem with physical machines is that they will physically hurt you if you put yourself in the mechanism when you're not supposed to. And things will bam up. Let's put the power on properly, because I don't quite know why I'm doing that or what that's happening. I'm not paying close enough attention, perhaps. Okay. Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. It's all gone a bit wrong. What's he doing? They're saying. What's he doing? Is he mad? Keep some tension to it. Okay. Well, that sounds particularly good. Okay, ready for this one? Sounded familiar. Ian, I used to put like tape cleaner cassettes into my tape machine. If that's what you mean. Was that the same? What's on the left? Oh, is it just on the left? Yeah, I think so. Alright, so that's some classical. Why is that playing? Have I broken it already? Oh no! Right. Okay. Tape isn't threaded properly. Oh, that's a bit of a duff one, I think, at the end of the day. I obviously did something wrong there. I mean, of course, all of my romance of this thing could be shattered in simply breaking it because I'm too foolish and slowly getting too drunk to know what it is that I'm doing. I mean, I do feel that this format has lasted for many, many years of far more drunk and stupid people than me messing about with it, I think. Running behind the left hand under the cover. Yes, I think you're right. I think that was what the problem was. Anyway, I'm going to put this one away. Stop being such a silly bugger. So that's probably in the worst condition of the lot I've seen so far, which is a shame because it's authentic in as much as it is what it is in the box. So whether I have actually achieved or acquired anything useful, it's really difficult to say. I mean, the guy who sold me the machine gave me a couple of takes, which was brilliant, and one of them is the one that I recorded to. Seems pretty sound. I mean, he recorded the whole album of Pet Shop Boys to it, you know, as a test, and that's why I used that one, because it seemed like it'd been recently used. Now, this one looks like it's had no use at all in like the middle third, which is interesting. Oh, who knows? Let's give it a go. Let's try to thread it properly this time. I think originally these machines didn't have these pull bits. I think they had something else which went over the top. So let's try to get this not wrong. So that goes on that bit. But there is this little arm here. I think it went behind that. So I want to make sure this goes on straight. You do have to go past that bit, don't you? Ultimately. That looks better. Oh, I'm on this stupid... I thought I turned it off. No, I did turn it off. Then it came on again. What am I doing? What am I doing? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, that's better now. That's held off, I think. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh dear, people looking at me going, what is he doing? Alright. Here we go. Is there a cover? Nah. Now we're talking. Les Paul. Excellent. It's only mono again. Woohoo! You're going to want me to change the speed now, aren't you? Which I can't do, I don't think, until I've unspooled it again. Rick, you join us at a very important moment. Okay, which way round is this? Let's get that right. Like that. Like that. Like that. Oh, I'm getting better at it now. Alright, let's try it again. This time perhaps at the right speed. Hi Andrew, are you ready? This is my latest production. It's taken me all day to get this on here. Here we go. It's in mono. It doesn't stop, Steve. The thing keeps spinning round.
Dit is de herkenningsmelodie van het quintet Jan Corvenen, waarbij vanavond zal worden gezongen door Geertje Kapveld.
Spacey. Now, with regards to changing the speed, I thought I said so earlier. This is the thing you change the speed on, this cap stand, this spinning thing here. But it's always spinning. I can't put this on and tighten up a thing on something that's spinning. I can't. I can't turn it up as faster than it is currently spinning. The only time it stops spinning is when you've unspooled and turned it off. Because it doesn't turn off while it's spooled up. Do you see? Does not turn off. Now I could unplug it from the wall, that's one option, I suppose. Otherwise, I'm just, if that's how it works, then surely it's better to rewind it before I put the speed change on. Do you see? So you may say that I could change that when it's on, but I can't. I mean, one thing I like, I suppose, about digital stuff, about computers and that, it is only one thing. It is that or it isn't. With tape machines, people say, oh yeah, do this, do that, do the other. Well, that thing doesn't exist on the thing that you're talking about. So with analog gear, it seems to be infinitely variable in what you may or may not have or how something works. And how one works in a particular way may not apply to a very, very similar machine but made by somebody else, if you see what I mean. So that's kind of interesting. By hand? What by hand? Back the tape up to release the swinging arm switch. This one? Fucking genius. Genius, I say. Nice. Twentioner. Okay, right, you see, that's interesting. That's interesting, yeah. See, vital bits of information required. What was I doing? I was fast forwarding it to see if it played then something else. See, it doesn't start now. So is that an organ? Or is it a harmonium? Well, there you go. Interesting things. I mean, I guess one of the challenges I'm going to have is finding decent tape, or understanding if tape is decent or not. Are these going to be any good? Because ultimately, I want to record to these things, but you want it to be captured as well as possible. Ultimately, I mean, unless your aim is kind of decrepitude, I suppose. So. I don't want to spend 20 minutes slaving over this, putting off the performance of a lifetime, only to have it recorded to something really crappy. So maybe it's going to take... No, I haven't demagnetized the heads. I don't want to hear any more about demagnetized flippantation, all right? Add it up to here with demagneting. I've had it 5 minutes. Give it a bleeding chance. I'm sorry. It was just I've been asked about that a lot. No, I haven't demagnetized it. Good Lord. What is it? I mean, it's. I didn't know that there was a demagnetization fetish. I thought the fetish was the tape machine. It's like, so is this going to turn into a flipping Sunday morning ritual like some people wash their cars? They've got their Ford Cortina out the front, and they're having to wash it every single week because that's what they do. That's what owning a Ford Cortina is about. Is that the same deal? Is that what I'm going to have to face? Is that every Sunday I come in here with my sex aid and I have to stand on the other side of the garden and slowly bring it in, slowly, or you open a portal to the bad magnets, bring it in closely, hoover the inside, and then take it away very slowly. Is that what I have to do? Oh dear. I've had half me very potent beer now, so I'm sorry. That's funny. Mr. Fireworks, that's a Ken line. Careful now. Well, there you go. Question of the week. Where do you get oily rags from? Have I asked this before? It's been on my mind a lot lately. It's the sort of thing my dad would say. Oh yeah, just give it a wipe with an oily rag. Who has oily rags? Where are these oily rags and where do they come from? First of all, where do you get rags from? And how do you get them oily? And do you deliberately get them oily? Or is it just happen to be a rag that appears in your dad's shed at some point? Where do they... if I go to Amazon, can I find oily rags? I don't understand. I mean, apparently that's the only way to keep my motorbike clean, is to have an oily, wipe it down with an oily rag every now and again. What? Where do these things come from? It's a mystery. Flipping mystery. Anyway. That was a diversion. So yeah, cool. Yeah, nice, cool. Well, let's ignore the tape machine now that we did that, and we'll come back to that. What time is it anyway? Well, we've been doing this an hour, so we'll just chat and we'll see where we get to. Am I still roughly in focus? Yeah, sort of. Ooh, a bit like that. Okay, cool. All right, let's relax then. Let's relax, and that's enough of all of that. So, otherwise, how have we been? Have we been all right? Oh, I've gone all big. Sorry. Have we been all right? Have we been behaving ourselves? Sound concrete. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna spin about all that now. So yeah. I mean, just to summarise, my experience with the tape machine has been awesome so far. And what I'll probably do is because it just worked. Tape City UK. Okay, cool. I'll try to file that in my head. Nice one. Yeah, sorry. The zoom is automatic when I focus. I forget. Okay. Oh, Ken, I'm so sorry. I hope that clears up. Oh, right. So, yeah, how was the Gear Fest? I mean, when they first advertised it, I really did think about going. But then, sort of later on, it just seemed to be the kind of the usual people I would have already seen at Super Booth previously. And I don't mean I don't mean the boring ones. I mean the kind of the more mainstream ones. So, Novation would be there. Ableton Live would be there. Source would be there. All good stuff, but not necessarily the more quirky, interesting modular stuff that I was particularly interested in. But then I flipped and saw on the internet that Mike Lindup was there, who's a hero of mine from way back, and that would have been awesome. I could have taken. He re-released his album on vinyl recently, which I got for my 50th birthday, or was it Christmas? Can't remember. Got it from my brother, bless him, which was great. So I should have taken that along, got it signed or something. That would have been ace. But it was not. So, Andrew, how was it? Was it good? Was it good? Mr. Wiggly did a live cast. Oh, did he? Was that for Sonic State or was it for himself? A Westlick performer sequencer. Westlick. I've got a performance sequencer. What's mine called? Oh, the Super 16. That's not the same, I don't think. No, so I don't think I've seen that one. No modular, still a great day. No, fair enough. I mean, did you get the opportunity to play on... did you get an opportunity to play on the Oberheim? Was there space enough to have a go on this behemoth? So you had to make way for the big guns. Oh, well, that's quite nice. Thanks, Day. Yeah, so what did you think of the Oberheim? Was it is it worth a go? Worth a flutter? What now? Oh, I'll let that go. Okay, how are you spelling that again? West what? Oh, I've lost it now. It's the most gorgeous synth you've ever heard. Oh. Well, I mean, I guess it will be a... It'll be a step up from... What have you got, Andrew? A step up from your Werkstat. Oh, no, I can't be bothered to look that up now. West Licht. Am I going to find anything useful? West Licht. Performer. Bomb. Oh, well, that looks like many things. It looks like the winter bloom, winter field, winter. Yeah, I'm on it. I know. No, I never come across it before in my life, but it's on GitHub, so that's quite exciting. Ooh, look. 8-track sequencer, 16 sequences per track, 64 steps, multiple track, blah, blah, blah. User interface, large. OLED display, 8 outputs. Okay. It looks complex. I just want a decent photo. Oh, there we go. Oh, all right. Interesting. I mean, single knob, so you're having to dial in individual steps in that way. I mean, I have a lot of sequencers now, a lot of sort of different ones. It's a project of mine to do a video comparing sequencers. I'd like to do that, but that's quite a long and involved one, I think. But that would be fun. But I'm really interested in the oh, my mind's gone blank now. In the busy circuits one, the one we saw at Superbooth, the little one with a little keypad in an SH101 style, because I like that. I mean, that's the one thing that's really missing from the SQ64 is just a fast and dirty way to record a sequence. I just want to hit notes, rest, rest, and it's in. That simple SH101 way of sequencing. I really like that. Having to go step by step and dial something in, I find that a little bit laborious, which is what the SQ64 does, unless you play in live, But it depends. I mean, sequencers, there's a lot of different ways of doing it, and different things work in different places. I mean, I do find if I spend a lot of time with a sequencer, then it becomes, you get into the workflow, and it becomes, oh yeah, this is how you should do it. I mean, what I find at the moment with the SQ64, although I have to say secretly, don't tell anyone, they are working on a new firmware for it. But I haven't seen anything about that yet. But there is one coming. They have crowbarred in some time to work on it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the thing is, going back to the SQ64, it's really hard to use initially. Once you spend a bit of time with it and you go, oh yeah, this is how it works. Oh right, got it. But initially it's quite difficult. So to have a very simple mode where you're not having to either play a hexapentagonal keyboard, or having to go in via MIDI, or having to dial in one note at a time, you kind of you just need a step mode. So you can just go step, and it's done. I think all sequencers should have that, but I don't know. Anyway, what were we talking about before we got distracted into this fella? I don't remember. Oh yeah, the Oberheim was good. Great. Good to know. I don't imagine one of those is going to float past me anytime soon. Although I am going to Synthfest. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. I've been thinking about doing... I haven't had a go with the Acid Rain Constellation. No. I mean, I've used their Maestro quite a bit. I've got one up here. Did a nice, lovely video on that. I thought they might just, offhandedly send me a Constellation, but they don't appear to have done so. So I don't have any plans on doing a video on one of those just at the minute. I don't have any room for buying any new modules right now. I bought the pizza. I think that's as far as I'm going to go for a little while. So no, but it looks very interesting. It looks very, very interesting. I'd like to have a go on that. It is actually, Ray, the Constellation is like a Turing machine that's been fallen in a vat of acid or something and resurrected as something crazy. So yeah, Jason, Synthfest, definitely going to go to that. Hopefully you have a go on the Oberheim there. It just really depends if I'm working it or not. I haven't, Sound on Sound haven't reached out to me. They didn't talk to me about Gearfest either. So I don't know whether they want me to do a thing or not. So gonna have to wait and see. But if I'm not working it, what I mean is if I'm working it, I probably won't get a chance of playing anything very much because I'll either be too nervous because there's a thing I have to do, or I'll be doing the thing that I have to do, or I'll be getting nervous about doing the thing. So if I'm not working it, I'll have more of a chance to actually look around and do stuff. However, I was been thinking lately about something needs to happen in Norfolk, in Norwich. We need to have a Norwich one. We need to have something in the east. So yeah, I've been thinking about that. I don't know if there's anybody who's out this way, East Anglia way, that would appreciate some kind of modular meet in Norwich. Would that be a good thing? So I think that would be a good thing. It's tricky because the Norwich Synth Club is sort of struggling to get back off the ground again since COVID, and so you wonder about the interest in such things, which is a shame because it's a great thing to come together and talk about synths, especially in a more of a local thing, a smaller thing where you're kind of all knocking around together and just chatting and looking at each other's stuff. Make it in August. August is too soon, mate, and there's too much holiday going on. I was thinking either September or November. I don't want it to be in the same couple of weeks as Synthfest, so either September or November I was thinking. But I don't know, is it a lot to organise? Probably. One thing that I figured that occurred to me is that I've got a lot of gear, right? I've acquired a lot of gear, much of it not being used very much. So I could be a one-person synthesizer show. I could, not the big stuff. I ain't got nothing big but I've got plenty of little things. So, if I could just get a space in Norwich. So I'm thinking along the lines of the modular meets in Leeds, the one that DivKid does, which is brilliant, fantastic. A local festival of modular, if you like, that has performances, it has people with their stuff, it has a bit of a shop, a raffle. I think I could handle that. And I could take my stuff and various things. I could probably set up 3 or 4 rigs of modular that I could stick on tables for people to look at, provided that people are respectful and don't pour beer into it or run off with it. One-man modular store. Sort of. It's not as far north as Leeds, mate. 2023. Well, yeah, if it's successful, then maybe the year after too. Modular Broads. Oh, yeah. See, we could rent the Mississippi boat, right? Because we have these terrible fake steam paddle ships on the Broads, and they're just terribly tacky, these things. They even have the big paddles on the back that don't actually do anything because the whole thing's run on just a normal diesel engine, and the paddle on the back just sort of goes round in sympathy as the boat goes along. But we could hire one of those, stick a load of modular on it, and spend the day on the boat. That's genius, that is. But we'd all have to get there, that's the thing, at the right time, otherwise you'd miss it. Yeah. Well, if illness prevents travel, mate, it doesn't really matter where we are, does it? Sadly. Sorry about that. But, we'll live stream it. Anyway, so it was a thought. It was a thought that maybe I don't know. Like I say, I've got a lot of gear, so I could put a load of stuff out and people could come and fiddle with it. Maybe that's interesting. I could raffle off a Behringer TD3 or something. That might be cool. Having stops along the way. The Broads isn't really like that. I mean, sort of. I mean, there's a couple of pubs and a bridge. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's no. It doesn't like go through Norwich or anything, which is a shame. Hire a boat and they'll come. Maybe. I'll definitely look into it. Modular Broads. But then, I mean, the downside is we're all stuck on this boat then together. I mean, you might only want to go along for 5 minutes. Just sort of check a few things out. No, I'm sorry, we don't get back for 8 hours. 8 hours you're stuck on this bloody boat. Or maybe the boat goes, you know, it does an hour circuit. Maybe it does a constant hour circuit. Maybe that's the thing. You're welcome, Ray. I'm only pulling your leg. Yeah, I know. What could possibly go wrong? Well, Kevin, if you make for it now, start coming now, you'll probably be here in time. You go through Ely, come up the Wissey, then somehow get across to the Ouse. That's got to work, isn't it? And then you need to get across. What goes through Norwich? What's that? No, it's the Wendell? Can't remember. Well, someone's got to have it. I don't want it. That's what I mean. Raffle it away for a good cause. The local modular fund. Cool, Jamie, yeah. Sure about the boat. Well, I was going to invite Blicken down to run a shop. I don't know if PMT would be interested in Norwich. I haven't been in there for a little while. I usually go in there for guitar reasons, not for synth reasons. But I don't have any Korgs to raffle. I mean, I've got an NTS1, I suppose I could raffle. Thinking about it. It just ends up being, well, it's hardly eBay, is it? Because I'm not going to be getting the money. The idea is a raffle would go to some kind of charity. It would be a charitable raffle. It wouldn't just be for me. Well, that was a nice idea. How much could I raise if it's just for me? No, I don't think that's the point of a raffle, is it? Yeah, maybe. People do get stuck in Suffolk for 20 years. That's kind of how the road system works. You know, you pop off, you head towards Bury St Edmunds, and there's no way out. No way out. Yeah, I mean, it does all come down to the venue. I mean, the boat is an interesting idea. I bet it costs a fortune. But it would probably, I mean, it'd have a bar. It would have tables and stuff to put your things on. It would probably have a performance space in as much as there'll be a little stage area or a PA or something. Steamboats go to Norwich, do they? No, you can't get onto the river. It's a long old way to get onto the river, I think. How do you get to the river? Because the boat's at Horning, and isn't there one at Wroxham, or is it Ludham? Confused. No. See, once the tape heads get magnetized, they start just putting everything in. It would throw all the navigation out on the boat, and they wouldn't have a clue where they're going. Well, if you're in Newcastle, Ray, just get on a boat at that end, push yourself out, and the tides will just bring you down our way. Isn't it the Tyne? Push you out into the Tyne. That's it. Just put you on a boat. Oh well, you've missed so much streaming underground. You won't believe. Could be though. No, it'd never work. They wouldn't have the power. They would never have enough mains to run anything of any magnitude, I shouldn't think. I mean, I don't know. It's worth asking. Otherwise, right, in Norwich, there's a few places. I mean, the Synth Club has always tried to find free venues, which is nice because it doesn't then cost you anything. And there's been a couple of cool pubs reviews. Used the Birdcage, which is no longer functioning. That seems to have completely died. And then there was the pub that's just off the marketplace, which is pretty cool. But it's really hard to get up because they'd lend you this room sort of halfway up, but the stairs were just impossible with a lot of gear. So that's no good. My mixer, yeah. The Feedback MXBX, it's fantastic. It really is. I can't quite... It's really, really nice. It's got a heck of a load of gain in it and can really overload in a really nice way. So you have to sort of keep it a little bit under control. But it sounds nice. Whatever happens to it, it just sounds great. It does. It's really sort of grungy. My one has a little bit of a problem on the second aux return that I haven't investigated deep enough yet. Your man at Feedback says it probably just needs a bit of a clean. I don't know, maybe. It's just a little bit noisy, so I haven't been able to use the second aux because it sort of hisses too much. I need to look into that a little bit. But the first aux is completely clean, no problem, and I'm using that through a reverb. And it's good. It's good. I'm not convinced that I like switches more than buttons for the mutes, and I always forget which way round it is. See, I think down is on, but it's kind of pointing towards mute. See what I mean? So I'm never quite sure. But it's good. It's a great size. It does have a bit of EQ that I don't ever use, but I potentially could do. But the size is right. I mean, it's only 6 channels, but 6 channels is enough for this sort of rig. So it really just fits brilliantly well. I mean, I like the Bafako one, for instance, but seems to take up 2 loads of stuff. I like the performance mixer from Thingy, the one that everybody has. But again, that's quite wide. I mean, that would be the other one that I'd like, but they're just really expensive. This is nowhere near that price. And it's just good size. Like it, chunky knobs. Sliders would be better, possibly. Yeah, but then the functionality gets affected by that. That's why other things spill over. So yeah, from my point of view, I can hardly recommend it. Even though, as I say, it's not fully functional. It's got a little problem. I still absolutely think it's the best mixer I've had. Absolutely. WMD, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the WMD. I think the WMD is probably a more elegant solution, LED metering, things like that. I would get the WMD if I could afford one, but I can't. So this definitely is a good alternative, I would think, provided that 6 channels is enough for you. Ooh, Ellie Munzo, that's Munoz, beg your pardon. That's an left field question. What powered studio monitor speakers do you recommend? I'd say Adam Audio, Focal, good one to look at. I mean, lots of people like the KRKs. I think they're a bit cliched these days. I don't think the yellow is really doing it for them anymore. So I think you should give those a miss. But the I think the Adam Audios were all over Superbooth. Absolutely everybody had them. Oh, well done. Yeah, I think the WAD is a fine mixer. It's just a bit wide, isn't it? I think. Let me just check. WMD performance mixer. Look at that. Comes up nice. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the bee's knees, really, I think. But it's 700 quid. I mean, that's quite an outlay. Quite an outlay. 8 channels, yeah. The Hex Mix is a lot less, at sort of like £300-400, I think. But again, quite chunky. But yeah, I can't fault the feedback one other than the fact part of it doesn't work. But as you can see, I'm not particularly bothered by that. It's slightly annoying, I would say, but I'll get it sorted out. You've got an M Audio what? Oh, what monitors? Back to that, sorry. Focals, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the focals are a bit posh, like. I mean, you know, Jervis over there he has posh things. He's the man who has the posh gear, most definitely. So, you know, want the best, get the focals. Otherwise, I think the Adam Audio ones weren't as expensive as they look. Oh. Power speakers, Ken. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I need to keep up. Yeah, I did have the Tesseract mixer, and I do still have it over there. I sort of blew hot and cold with it. I liked it, and then I had some trouble with it, and then I still had trouble with it. It never fully, I don't know, I never fully clicked into it, I have to say. I think it does. I think that the options they have are brilliant. I love the fact that you can mix those modules together. I think that was a brilliant idea. It just, in the end, it just, for some reason or other, it hasn't quite worked for me. Whereas this has. It's funny, isn't it, how that happens? But they're very well priced, and I was looked after, but it just didn't seem to end up properly working for me in the end. Maybe it will in the future, I don't know, or maybe it will still remain in another case doing another thing. But it didn't ultimately somehow fit what I was attempting to do. Tannoy, says NTO, keeping it real. See, the problem with Frap tools, I think, is that they overcomplicate things. I mean, what kind of product is that? A Frap tools CGM quad stereo channel and group modules. It's like they're speaking, like they invent their own language. I think it's a make noise thing, where if you can invent your own language around your products, you make them mysterious enough to sort of elevate them into another level of gas or integration. So, you know, you make them appear even more interesting than they actually are. It's not the cylinder, it's the head, it's the needle. That's the problem. Yeah, I mean, mixing outside of your case, it makes sense to some degree. It doesn't make sense for me particularly, because it's yet another thing to have on my desk. I've got plenty enough on my desk already. I don't want a mixer like that. And it's another thing to take gigging, because ultimately that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to use this case as a gigging case, and that's why I'm trying to keep to this case as much as possible to learn the ins and outs of everything that's in here. So in so many ways I'm applying an artificial restriction to the actual range of modules I can use in order to hopefully improve my usage of them rather than always going to another one. I mean, obviously if I wanted to hear everything at once, then getting another mixer would be a thing, but mixers really annoy me because they're so big, they take up so much space with all this stuff I never ever use. Yeah, I would much rather have reach up here for this thing. This is like my ideal mixer form factor. You know, this. I just want level sliders. Maybe some send knobs. This is a MIDI controller. It's not an audio mixer. So whenever I talk to a company about, hey, let's make a module, I always talk about, hey, I want like a 24 channel mixer. They go, no, that's really hard. Apparently making mixers is really hard. Who knew? But this is the sort of thing that I want. I just want simple. I don't want all that EQ. I don't know what EQ is for. No one ever uses EQ. You know, you have the thing that does the thing for the thing. Why EQ it? So, yeah, all I want is like this, 6 channels, Panning is good. Panning is good. I understand panning. That makes sense. I've got auxiliary sends. Yes, I want 2 auxiliary sends. I want one for reverb, constant reverb, and one for something else. Probably delay. This has EQ on it that I'm never going to use, probably. And then an input. I mean, it would be nice to have... Would it be nice to have CV control over level? No, not really. I mean, why would I be doing that? Why can't I just do that with my fingers if I want to turn something up or down? See, it doesn't make sense. I'm not trying to create an automatic system. I'm trying to create a performable system. But yeah, for a desktop mixer, I would love a desktop mixer to be this size. You know, a row of inputs along the top. That would be great. Hey, haven't Teenage Engineering built one? That would be awesome. I mean, if there's a 24 channel one of those, then I'd be interested. Yeah, I'd drop 10 grand on that. Yeah, no bother. That would be it. See, you know, I'm on the right wavelength. I'm down with the kids. I know what's cool. I know what people really want. Laddick generally have a great selection of you know, interestingly useful modules that they're often forgotten about, I have to say. I thought the 16N was a MIDI controller again, not a mixer. Wasn't it? Is that used as a mixer? Okay. I thought, as I say, I thought that project was I thought it just outputted MIDI / CV / what's the other one? OSC, and there's another one I can't remember. Didn't know you could actually use it as an audio mixer. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I thought. See, I do know things. I know things. I2C, thank you. I mean the knobs on this, I mean they're not fantastic, and I wonder whether there's a way I could change it. Even to the point of actually smaller knobs would be better, because you kind of end up interfering with these other things. I mean, it's a Eurorack phenomenon that mostly your stuff is too crowded. It is all too crowded. It's a small format. I mean, it's amazing how much we can pack in to here, but for fingers like mine, it's a small format. It is a thing. It is definitely a thing. So potentially we could take these off here. Talking of knobs, I got one of these through from Knobs, which is interesting. I got some other ones through as well, but I can't show you those at the moment because they're on something I can't show you. but interesting, very interesting. That's never going to fit on there though, it'd be too big. And that is the problem. That is the problem. Knobs in Eurorack are a problem. This is quite a large one. It would fit nicely on there. Do I want that too? So I quite like the Look Mum No Computer knobs. Yeah, I'm going to look forward to patching that together tomorrow. See, because then I'll be able to run the Cosmo proper format module sort of sit into the side of this, because it runs off the same power. It's all completely compatible, other than the fact it's got great big fat jack sockets on it. But yeah, other than that small fact, it should essentially run the same. I could sellotape it on the side here somewhere. But ultimately, with my little huge Cosmo project, I'll have to build a case for it somehow. I do have an old suitcase in the corner that I've got hold of expressly for the Cosmo stuff. But it requires a lot of fiddling about, and how do I actually screw this stuff into this essentially cardboard suitcase? Well, sometimes mini knobs work, you see, because they actually give you room around enough to use them. But it's like with the, it just depends, you know. Here's an example. These ones here on the Castor and Pollux. These are all mini knobs, and I got these over knobs from Thonk, which expand the mini knobs just a little bit, but without ending up crowding everything. And I think that's really good. I don't think you should have, I mean, I agree with you in that mini knobs can be a pain, but these are just brilliant. They just add a little bit, not too much, a little bit, which makes them more fingerable without crowding it out. And I think those are really good. But I mean, if you look at something like the Veils that I got up here, this row of knobs, if they were any bigger, you wouldn't be able to turn them. But then I never turn those anyway. I don't really know what they're for. I mean, what? Offset, and who knows what that other thing is. They're always set to the same thing, to where they are. And every time I sort of move them to do something I think they should be doing, it's never doing the thing I think they should be doing. Not that I think, I mean, it always just sounds terrible. Do they slip? No, they don't. From Thonk. Yeah, thonk.co.uk. They do a lot now. What's my favourite generative sequencer? What sequencer that makes its own stuff? Well, the Turing machine, first of all. I mean, I guess that's what you mean by that. Otherwise, the Stochastic Instruments generator, which I've got just up here, out of shot. Those are two things that I use that generates its own stuff. Every other sequencer I've got, I tell it what to do. Is that what you mean by generative? Just checking back in case I missed something. No, never mind. Just nonsense as usual. You've heard they slip. Oh, well, that's not been my experience. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, really, I guess. I mean, let's have a look. I mean, they slip as in they go round a little bit. Well, mine don't. I mean, it might. I mean, the trimmer knobs you get do vary. You know, some of them are grippy, and some of them are not quite so grippy. Perhaps that might be it, or some of them are taller, like the ones on the Moog stuff, for instance, are quite short. I wonder if that's a thing. But no, they're not. I've never had them slip. I mean, if I don't have it on anything I use very much. I mean, this is all on an oscillator, so you tend to set it and forget it. You're not spending a whole lot of time twisting them about like you would on a filter. So yes, they grip well. Thank you. Don't talk to me about ornament crime. Or Pamela, for that matter. You know, get behind me, you multifunctional, screen-laden bits of modular ruin. Yeah. So yeah, you know, Turing machine. I see Turing machine. It's got a knob on it. See that? Got a couple of lights to tell me what's going on. Love that. Love that. Ornament and crime? No, no, and no. It doesn't have anything useful on it at all ever. I mean, I understand that it has an extraordinary amount of power, but it's power for people who let me think about the right phrasing for that. People who are far more intelligent than me. Let's say that, shall we? So I want to know what's going on. I want to know what things are doing, really. I feel that with an ornament and crime, I would be spending the whole time trying to get to the right menu, and that never feels creative to me. Never feels like something that's going to inspire me to do anything. I have enough trouble deciding on the right knob. It's like the biggest problem with the Performance VCO and the Filter Guru from Look Mum No Computer is that I reach for this one thinking I'm changing the cutoff, and this is the octave switch on the oscillator, because they look a bit similar. Why was I saying this? Yeah, but see, so that's as terrible as it gets. You just go, oh, and then I move on. I'm not having to go through a menu to try to find something to make it do something. Well, you know. So I can make mistakes on simple things, let alone on complicated things. So I'm yet to see anything on the Ornament Cry that's been of remote interest to me at all. I've never seen anything on it that makes me go, oh yeah, that'd be great. I've seen a lot of modular that has one in it and stuff is happening, but that's about as far as it goes. It's a bit like the noms stuff, in that some of it is beautiful. I mean, I love those knobs, the way that modulation moves, and that little matrix of lighty stuff. But I have no clue what it has to do with anything, what it's actually doing. And I've got plenty of LFOs that do LFO-y stuff, so I don't know. You know, it's kind of like becomes a piece of technology art. And Ornament Crime is a bit like that, in that it's a behind-the-scenes work of art. It's an incredibly intelligent module that does extraordinary things, if you can be bothered to work out what those things are. But I've got a disk thing, mate. I mean, you know, I can spend a whole week trying to find an algorithm on that, if that's the sort of way I want to spend my time. I can do that already. So yeah, that's just not. I mean, it is for other people, of course. I understand other people love these things, love it, just enjoy the heck out of it. And in a small system as well, I can see that's a useful thing. But for me, somehow the Turing trumps it every time. It's just a wonderful little piece of work. So fascinating and interesting and simple. And the fact that pulse just does its own thing, great. Absolutely great. Anyway, I'm sure you've got something to say about that, which is fine. Other options are available. It's like I was jamming with Gaz last week online. Funnily enough, we're doing a bit of a thing. We're doing a bit of an experiment together, and we were trying to sync ourselves. And he was all over PAMs. He had PAMs doing everything. He had all sorts of sync coming out of PAMs. And I'm just going, look, I don't know what you're trying to send me. And he's saying things like, well, you know, do you have something that does 24 pulses per quarter inch or whatever it is? I'm going, no, why would I have something like that? So he's going, oh yeah, but how are we going to get this sync to work? I don't know. Can you just like send me a clock, a pulse, just something that goes doom doom? I went, oh yeah, right, yeah. And then that worked like a charm. All this farting around with PAMs and different clock configurations and sync and stuff. It's like, no, I just want to dump, and I can put that into anything, anywhere. You know, that's fantastic. So yeah, I'm still not quite convinced by PAMs, but I was for a little bit, because I thought maybe PAMs is the only way I'm going to get this sorted out, so that we go PAMs to PAMs. And if you go PAMs to PAMs, it's just going to work, right? I suppose. You know, I mean, the sync was the biggest problem I had with the KeyStep Pro. It drives me nuts. You know, it's like, why do we need these different forms of sync in modular? You've just a clock. It's just you just want a clock. It's just a dum dum dum. I don't need it to be sync. Do you know what I mean? I just want it to be a clock, the same clock. We're on the same clock. That's good. You know. So with the beat step, well, I had the original beat step before I had the keyboard version, and the beat step, it would just do it. It would just go crazy speeds. It drive me nuts working out what on earth are you doing. Why can't we just play together and give ourselves a tempo that's actually on the beat? That's what seems to make most sense to me. I guess it's resolution. Last thing you need is resolution in a Eurorack. You just want steps, I would say. Pounds is better than in the Instruo Oct. What? Pounds is an LFO? Is it? I had no idea. Buyer's remorse? No, there's never any buyer's remorse here, mate. Yeah, right. It's funny with the Touring. I built the pulses and the volts. Do I have a volt? No, I built the pulses. I've never really used that. It's like there's too much going on now. I quite like the simplicity of the one melody line and the pulse, which occasionally gives you notes. I quite like that. Once I expanded it, it just seemed to be too much. In some ways, I'd rather have two Touring machines than the Touring machines and the volts or pulses. But that's just me, you know. Plenty of other people enjoy that sort of thing. I know Myler Melodies is talking about it a lot at the moment because he's recently discovered the Touring machine and he's having a whale of a time because it is just brilliant. It is brilliant. Beatstep Pro and Pam are not friends. All right. See, multifunctional, great, right up my alley. Multifunctional modules. Oh no, no. One thing I haven't found is a clock divider multiplier. I've got a clock divider. So, I mean, in the end, we were jamming and Gaz sent me this clock pulse, which was great, but I would have liked to have multiplied it and done things faster. But I've got a clock divider which takes things down. I mean, I guess there are clock multipliers which take things up. Is there not one that does both? Is there not one that sits your clock in the middle and goes faster one way, slower the other? Because that would be really useful. I'd have one of those if anybody knows of such a thing, which isn't buried in a function like a disting or a PAM or an ONC. If there's an actual module that does it, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, I understand things like the marbles is a Touring machine on acid, but that's the problem. I think it's too much. The Touring machine is beautiful in its simplicity. You know, you know what you're doing. I don't want 4 of them. 2 of them would be interesting. I don't want 4 or interrelated ones. Anyway, quad clock. I thought that was only down. I don't want to hear that, Your Majesty, Your Worship. No, I certainly won't be bringing out a Molten's multifunctional module anytime too soon. No, I'll be bringing out a Molten module that does one thing. Yes, I'll be doing lots of those modules that do a thing that I can't do at the moment, or is going to be helpful to let you do other things. Type module. That's the sort of module I'll be bringing out. The 4MS clock, does it? See, I was looking at it and I convinced myself that it was just in one direction. Does it? The pingable generators, that's a bit of a big thing, isn't it? Quad clock distributor. Hang on. Quad pingable. No, I don't want a quad pingable. Quad clock distributor. Oh, that's the slightly wider one. Cool, geez. They're not cheap, are they? Oh, see, I've been looking at the thinner, the single, like 4 HP was the one I was looking at. It's got flipping expanders. What? Just want things to be simple. Doesn't need knobs. It just needs to be divided and timesed. Flipping complicated flipping stuff. I don't know. Okay, so that's the sort of thing I need to be looking at then, obviously. It just looks... it's not, I mean, I've got this wonderful Dope clock divider. Simple, is it 4 or 6, 4 HP? It's got a load of sockets on it. It's got a switch that I don't really understand, but it does have sockets that seem to run at different sorts of speeds. And that's all I was after. I'm not after anything clever. Eurorack isn't simple. Yeah, maybe. I quite fancied that abstract data one. If I was going for a chunky module that seemed to have a lot of clock possibilities in it. Alright, well that seems to be that's the one that everybody wants then. No one else got the shack mat. Oh well. There's always another. There will be another. Cool, well look, it's 10 o'clock and lovely as this has been chatting to you people, I'm nearly at the end of my beer. It's odd and even clocks. Oh. Well, I mean the Dope one is just a complete mystery. So what I find with that is that I stick things in it, and if it sounds good, I go with it. If not, I try another slot until I find something that sounds good. That's what I quite like about that one. It would be nice to understand what it's doing at some point, so I could actually make the right decision sometimes. That would be nice. Because when I switch this switch, it's then just doing it differently, and I don't know why. But, the manual's not far away. I could find these things out. I've got the 160, yeah. 162. Is it the 165? Is that going in the other direction? Then there will be two things I don't understand. Clock multiple. Okay. Oh, that's weird. What's that? That's weird. Why has it got all those lights on it? Why doesn't it just have jack outputs? I don't get it. No, you see, that's not it. That's not it. What? You can take all those LEDs away and put sockets in instead, so that I've got choices. Back to Pam's again. Dear. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by odd clocking. But then, obviously I'm coming across here as someone who doesn't really know much about anything. It's difficult to multiply a clock higher than an input. Why? Why is it difficult? Why is it difficult? I don't know. I mean, mostly for clocking I use my Variegate 4 Plus, which is my love-hate module. One of my many love-hate modules. And I tend to use that as the master clock for things. Because if I press the right combination of buttons, my favourite thing, if I get the right button to light, I can change it. And I know what I'm doing. And for that I've got course tempo, but also within each channel, with each track, it's got its own multiple and divider thing, which is very cool. So you can speed things up or slow things down relative to the clock. I like that a lot. That's all I'm trying to replicate, just in a larger rack format. So what I want is like the date for 162 that I have, which is a clock divider, just so that the clock speed is in the middle, and above it you've got, I don't know, 4 sockets of multiplying, and below it you've got 4 sockets of division. That's kind of what I'm after. Yeah, we're not listening, Steve. Alright, Shack Mat. I'm sure I've looked at this, you see. I've looked at this a lot recently. Time Wizard. Yeah, alright. Okay. It's not expensive. Casting spells on every boring clock signal. So you've got a clock, got a reset. Is that good? I don't know. And you've got 3 lots of those. So what, you set those 6 outputs to whatever it is you want. You've either got a multiple is like A, a multiple, and B, a divider. Is that the idea? Shut up. I'm not demagnetizing anything. Demagnetize you in a minute. But then why doesn't it have a clock? Why do I have to feed it a clock in the first place? But anyway, that's not important. I won't worry about that. Oh, just funny. Okay. So it's a sextuplet clock divider divided into 2 sections. Dedicated potential acting on the division factor each divider. Clock multiplying and weird division multi ratio abilities for the first section. First section incoming clock can be multiplied by 3 or 4. Allowing to get easy triplets from a 16th clock. Oh, okay. Independent clocking or divider association abilities for the second section. So B5 and B6 can get their clock internally from B4. Giving you with different time signatures. Additional logic. Okay. I mean, that does sound interesting. I mean, would it do basic stuff? Would it just do the thing? Do you have, double tempo and 4 times the tempo and 3 times the tempo? Would it? I guess it will do that. So, okay, interesting. I'll put that at the back of my head somewhere. Good, right. Hey, look, we got up to 100 people watching, and I'm just about to go, which is a shame. But hey, leave on a peak, I suppose, would be the answer to that. Well, that's been fun. I'm going to just rewind this fella. No, I'm not. Yes, I am, over here on this one. There we go. So I think we discovered probably that none of this tape's particularly any good. And one should beware of tape bought at card boot sales. But it was interesting. It was interesting. And who knows, maybe it will come in use at some point. But maybe what I should do is probably get hold of a new piece of tape from places people have said. If I'm serious about it, I probably should, But I do have a tape that I've recorded to, and that was quite successful, so I might do a little bit more of that. But I also have to consider how often that I'm actually in a position to record in that way. I'm not particularly prolific because I'm, like, for instance, this week I'm not going to be able to make anything really because I'm going to be putting modules out of here to review them, and then I'll be making little jams with them, but nothing that would really, because I'm not going to be working on the whole rig. I'm just going to be working on that individual module and trying to make something interesting with that. So I won't have any reason to record anything this week, I shouldn't think. So what I'm saying is I'm not doing it all the time, just doing it every now and again. So we'll see. This quart thing from Nano is quite interesting. I haven't got fully to the bottom of it yet, but I think it's the sort of thing I think it's exactly what I want, and I just need to really sort of get my head into it. It's essentially 4 rise and fall envelopes, and I think they loop if they're not patched in. Otherwise they just do the envelope thing, because essentially envelopes frustrate me a lot, because I'm usually just after a straightforward acidy filtery sound. That's kind of what I'm after, and ADSR envelopes just seem to be overly elaborate for that kind of thing. So for instance, if I've got an SH101 or an MS101, you can sit down and instantly make a really great acidy bass sound. Same as you can on the TD03, 303 styly thing. Very simple, very easy to do, because it's kind of built in. And you don't do that by using the whole ADSR. You use it just by using zero attack and a bit of decay. That's it. So that's all I really want in my Eurorack. The complicated envelopes just sort of do my head in. Much rather have just a simple rise and fall that I can do a little bit of pulling in if I want to, or otherwise just putting down that filter cutoff on every step. And so I think that is going to work really nicely. Really nicely. The fact that there's 4 of them means I don't have to have another envelope in my system, unless I want something long and evolving, but then I tend to use an LFO for that. Anyway, so good. Right, what happened? Pam again. There's a lot to explore the stochastic instrument generator, mate. There's a lot. I come back to it from time to time, because it's not in my full-time rig. You know what I mean? Because it runs another rig by itself quite nicely when I've got that set up, but I haven't at the minute. So but it's a lovely thing, particularly when you start getting into the 4 channels of it. I mean, that live stream I did with the guys from Stochastic with Phineas and what's it was really interesting, discovering what it can do, really, because although I'd had it for a while, I'd never thought about the envelope side of it and things like that, or using the 4 channels. That was fascinating. So very, very interesting device. Very interesting. I don't know what a Timung device is. No, I know that Pam's is very good at timing. I understand that. I do understand that. I just want something that's not quite so in itself, you know. Honestly, Miguel, you're not selling it to me. The fact that it has these things, I mean, I've got a disting, man. I've got the whole world in one module, and I don't even know where the flipping heck it is. Where is it? So you'd think it would be somewhere useful, wouldn't you? Because it is so bleeding useful. But no, I don't even know where it is. Where is my other... What is that? Oh, that's that. Oh, it's, no, I don't know where it is. See, and that will be the PAMs. The PAMs will be over there somewhere, not doing anything. Anyway, I don't know what a clank chaos is. The Her mod, don't get me started. Her mod, fabulous. What a fabulously deep, useful and penetrating module that is. That is a bugger to use. How do you... I've never... I mean, you know, it's computer level frustration is what the Her mod is. Brilliant. If you can get your head around that. It's like using the NerdSeek, you know, a tracker or something like that. It's a big module that's got a lot of layers and complexity to it. And if that's your thing, then rock out. Do it. But it's not for me. It's just not for me. No, my disting isn't anything. I've used it for everything. I've used it for an echo in the past, yes. But it drives me nuts. See, I am working. I do have an idea for a clock module, funnily enough. But I'm not going to tell you about it because it's my idea and it's going to be awesome and I will bring it out. And everyone will want one. Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah. Oh, well, it's lovely talking to you guys, but I have to go. Things to do, places to go, people to see. Got to get some sleep. Oh, that's part of my that's part of my Cosmo thing over here. See, I'm now worried about where my disting is. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to say, yeah. I'm not sure at the moment, but the mixer from Erica Synths has been released. It doesn't look complicated. It does have a bit of distortion in it, which is interesting. So I need to do the build on that. It might be this week. I might give it another week. No, I'm not going to tell you about it. It will never happen anyway. I've got a whole range of modules that will probably never happen, but you know, one will. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So the Erica Synths mixer. I'll have a look tomorrow about what my scheduling's like, because obviously I need 2 nights, and whether this week would be appropriate for that. Which reminds me of something else, actually. Thanks for sticking with us, Jay, over in Twitchland. Well done. Sorry if it's a bit lonely over there, but you know, we've got to try these things. What was I saying? Yeah, so I will confirm tomorrow, I think. So, but it'll probably be the week after, thinking about it. But we'll see. Anyway, so that's coming up soon. Otherwise, this week I'm working on my Look My No Computer modules review, which I'll do on video. Also writing it out for Sound on Sound, I think, which is cool to get that in there. I would like to do a review of the pizza if I can. It's just a little bit complicated and I don't know whether I've got the brain power for it, but we shall see. So I've got those 2 things coming up, the Erica Synth thing. I would like to spend some time on the Behringer 2500. That's quite important, I think. I then have fantastic videos coming up on patch cables, on 1U modular, on distortion modules, on sequencers. Yeah, I mean, one thing that has occurred to me recently is that it is far more interesting. I think it's far more interesting to do videos on interesting subjects rather than, well, not rather than, as well as reviews. Because product reviews are fine. They get clicks and views. They're helpful to people. It's interesting to look at a module in some depth and do something interesting with it and go, here you go. I can make a video on that. I can do that, no problem. But it is more interesting, I think, to do videos on on a subject, on something like, I mean, the buying the tape machine was quite brilliant, and it was fun to do, enjoyable to do, and the response has been great to it. So I'd like to do more videos like that. There's a danger of getting bogged down in reviews, I find, in focusing on an individual product, and if you're not careful, it becomes less fun, and that's the last thing you want. Once it stops becoming fun, that's the end, really, I think. So I will endeavour to do things more than just product reviews, but it becomes a time issue, how much time you've got, and ultimately there's a pressure if somebody has either sent you a module that there is an element of, I don't want to do a video on that, because you want to reward or respond to the generosity of somebody by doing something generous in return. You know, that's human, that's normal. I think that's okay, and if I'm accepting people sending me stuff, then that's part of what I need to be doing. But I would like to continue to do more interesting videos on associated stuff, more about music making, more about writing music, more about comparing perhaps a few modules, or giving an idea of a subject of a module rather than an individual product itself. Those sorts of things. Some videos pay your wages. I don't know. No videos don't pay any wages. Really? No. I'd love that to be the case, but I'm quite a fair way off videos paying my wages, I'm afraid. But it's all part of something. It's all part of putting myself up and out there and doing stuff. It's the raffle that's going to pay my wages. There'll be the Mississippi Showboat raffle. You can win. You can win a Behringer TD3. Yes, you can. £10 a ticket. £99 for a pack of 5. That kind of thing. That's where the money comes from. How to make sounds. Maybe. See, I don't really know that stuff. It's one of those things. It's often something I get asked to write about. Can you write an article on how to make yourself sound like Kate Bush, for instance? And it's like, no, I don't know how to do that. How do you do that? Or why don't you write an article on what sounds Depeche Mode used in the 1980s? How would I know that? Am I supposed to just listen to the songs and go, yes, that's an ARP 2600 right there? Because I don't have that power. Some people do, I think. I don't. I find those things very difficult. Why am I talking about this? Oh yeah, telling people how to make certain sounds. Yeah, no, that's kind of a div kid department, I think. That's not really my department. My department is taking a module or a bunch of modules and saying, you could sort of do this with it. Or, no, rather, let's put that back where I think I am, which is to say, this is what I did with this. That's my angle. Look, this is what I made of this particular module. This is what I made of this synth, as opposed to this is how you're supposed to use this synth or module. That's more my vibe. There's other people who can tell you how to use stuff like DivKit or Loop Pop. I'll show you what I did with it. Well, I mean, I don't know. There are plenty of videos that I do on more complicated things, computery things like DC coupling or MIDI controllers or other bits and pieces, which I can certainly offer a beginner's view at, because that's how I view things. I view things from the bottom up. How do I make this work? And then I want to show how I made this work. That, I think, is something that I do quite well, potentially, as opposed to assuming you know everything and then just talking in some random language about it. Oh, so what? Poker? What? Old socks? Cool, it's all got out of hand in there. No. See, reviews aren't sponsored. I mean, they might have sent you something, so in that respect, it's sponsored. So Christian, who's been making Lookman No Computer modules. He sent me these two for free. So you could say that's sponsored. And in terms of YouTube, I have to go paid promotion because I haven't really, but I have sort of, because it's been sent to me and I haven't purchased it myself, it's sort of paid promotion. I mean, it's rubbish because that's not what happens. I have been sent something for free. So strictly speaking, they've sent it to me. I could then stick it on eBay, sell it, and have made money out of that situation. And the fact that I've done a review on it when somebody has sent me something obviously biases that review to some degree. I mean, inevitably. But also, buying something biases biases a review because you've bought something and you want to reaffirm that decision about doing something. So there's no way really to do an unbiased review as far as I can see. The best unbiased reviews for me are sound on sound based because sound on sound pays me to write the review. So the company doesn't send me the gear for free and I get to keep it or anything. That can happen, but it doesn't actually happen. They send me the stuff, Sound on Sound pays me to review it, so I can do the whole thing without any real particular bias other than human not wanting to sound like an arse bias, you know, trying to find the good in something bias. So that's where it works the best. But otherwise, there's always going to be bias coming in. What am I talking about? So yeah, so I've never been paid for a review in my life other than being sent gear, and often I buy the gear myself. So the pizza I bought myself, Bastel have never sent me anything. I've always purchased it, and I'll be doing a review on that in exactly the same way I'll be doing a review on something that somebody sent me. So it's the only payment outside of being given something, as I think I've stressed now, is through clicks and advertising, which is a penance. I mean, a penance? A pittance. That's not right. So I mean, from Google I get about $300 a month. You know, that's not a living. That's from all of these videos that I make, all of them. I would in some ways quite like to make a video on what video people earn. The tricky thing about that is that you have no idea what other people get, and if you make a video on it assuming everyone's about the same as you might make a complete fool of yourself and find out that you're actually doing it wrong and everybody else is making a wonderful living and you're just being really rubbish at it. I don't know. No one likes to talk about money. But, you know, I don't know if that's interesting, but the making of videos thing is absolutely not a money-making situation until you have far more subscribers and views and stuff. I mean, you can work it. I mean, for instance, both DivKid and BoBeats do it full time pretty much. But you might have noticed with DivKid, I think in particular, that he's gone down a route of doing videos for people. You know, specifically, he's become the video manual for certain modules, and that's probably a business arrangement, and so it should be, because he's putting in a lot of time to providing a tutorial video on a particular module. So that's one way of doing it. I don't tend to have done that. I mean, my business head is crap, so I'm not very good at sorting that sort of thing out. I mean, Bo also does videos for people, sponsored by people, and has proper sponsorship, and that's the way to do it to make a living. You need proper people properly sponsoring you. Sonic State as well, you know, sponsored by all sorts of people they have at the beginning of their videos. So there are ways of doing it, but I don't believe I'm at that level, and I don't know that I necessarily. I mean, I would love to just be making a living by doing the things that I love to do. That would be great. But if half of that time is taken up with trying to do business, that's not interesting to me particularly. It should be, shouldn't it? Probably. I don't know. Anyway, my focus is to get to 50,000 subscribers. That would be awesome. We'll have a bit of a party. That would be great. If I ever get to 100,000, we're going to have a festival. Going to have a festival in my village. You can all come and camp, right? And we'll go woohoo! And we'll make a weekend of it. We'll play modular stuff and muck about with synths and things and camp and eat good food, drink beer. That's what we'll do. If I ever get to 100 grand, if I'm still alive when that happens, that would be amazing. Anyway, sorry, I'm running on like a crazy person. No, I don't solder from the top. Oh, I did though, didn't I? Didn't I do that a little while ago? Anyway. What? I don't know. I'm not following the conversation. Yeah, sorry, in answer to name I can't pronounce person asking about the Look Mum No Computer stuff, the VCF isn't out yet. It's out any time. That's one of the reasons why I want to do my video this week. The VCO is out. The filter is coming along, nearly there, I believe. I'm lucky to have one ahead of time. I've also got Christian's rat here, his Euro rat, which is his own stuff from Funku. I don't know what quite he calls himself. I will try to look these things up so I don't sound like an idiot when I make the video. But that's quite nice. I've had a fun play with that. I've got a lot of distortion now. No, I really need to do some comparisons. But yeah, this filter in here is quite something. I mean, it's unruly and crazy. It's not a sweet thing. But so I'm planning to make 2 videos separately. I think to do them together, I mean, it makes sense, but that's also to undervalue the oscillator, I think, because they don't have to be a pair. I think the oscillator can stand by itself. So the plan is to do that. Is to definitely to do that by itself and run it through other things rather than assuming it will go through the 1114 filter. I'm running on again. I meant to go away. I've managed to talk for another half hour by accident. Free Mo giveaway. Oh yeah, I do have a Mavis now I need to do, so that's another thing I've got to do. Steve, if you're in Kings Lynn, you've got to come to my modular meet then in Norwich. That would be great. The poly-N presets. I never heard from anyone who's actually had one. It seemed interesting. You like how hardware and software can interface so seamlessly? Where? In what? Anyway. Have I ever collected CPU from the Hydrosynth to your rack? No, I haven't. I haven't touched the Hydrosynth since doing that dratted battery video. No, I've got a cupboard under the stairs for drills, and I think shovels just knock around until they fall apart and then we get another one. I do have the front half of my shed actually is what we call the summer house. We call it the summer house even though it's never used as such. It's just got everything in it like bikes and lawnmower and tent and all those sorts of things, shovels and that. Yeah, cool. So right, let's leave it there then. Otherwise, I'll not get to bed, and I'd quite like to get to bed. So thanks ever so much for tuning in. I hope that was interesting. I know it was a bit tape heavy, but that was kind of fun there for a minute. I won't be doing that anymore. I don't think. As in, you know, it will start to serve its purpose, hopefully. And in some ways, I'm inspired slightly to the idea that every jam that I do now, I really could record it on here, and and just make an album just like that without having to really overthink it, which I do constantly overthink it. So the one that I've done, the one I did for the demo video, that's a track, isn't it? That's a track, and it's done. It's already there. I've just got to do another, I don't know, half a dozen of those, and that's a flipping album. Why don't I do that? Yeah. So yeah, great. I'll go wander over there and I'll push the button on the outro music. And thanks. No, I can do that from here. Like if I'm really clever. Wait for it. Hang on. Seamlessly thinking about this. What's that? That's the intro, isn't it? What was the outro? Is the outro that one? No, that's not anything. Well, that one. No, this one? Could be that one. Yeah, that might be it. So, hi Tom from Missouri. Yeah, I'm just going. Sorry, mate. Lovely to see you though. Cool. So I'll let you know about the Synths mixer. Lots more videos to come. Do check us out. There's Patreon. You know, there's only a little band of us over on Patreon, but it's lovely if you can come over there and give a couple of quid for a little while. It doesn't have to be continuous or forever. Or I mean, I've properly set up my affiliate links now with both Perfect Circuit and Thomann. There's even some Sweetwater action potentially coming along. So if you are buying stuff from those sorts of stores, then please do use my links, because then I get like a couple of quid. It gets quite exciting. I mean, Andrew, if you're going to go and buy your OBX8 X8 8X, whichever one it is, buy it through my link, and like I'll get like a couple of £100 commission or something. That'd be awesome. So do that. That'd be great. So yeah, do that to support a fella on his video channel. So cool. I will merge this in. Well, I'll do a wipe. That'll be exciting. Or a cube zoom. Should I do a cube zoom? Wonder what that's going to look like. Are you ready? All right. Thanks very much. And yeah, go and make some tunes and that. Oh, that was really exciting. We should do it again with me. This time with me looking at the camera like it looks like I know what I'm doing, as opposed to looking over there to see the effect. So yeah, and yeah, go make some tune. Okay, give me a button here. Don't look at it. Go make some tunes.